Okay, so let's just get started. Hello everyone. Welcome to Educators for Impact second event, and thank you all for coming out and supporting us. My name is Elaine, and I am the CEO of Educators for Impact. And so today we are very fortunate to have a wonderful speaker, Kai Mirchandani, to join us to speak about his zero waste organization, People Plates Planet, or PPP, and his journey with it, his goals, his struggles, and more. So very quickly, I'm going to introduce our program. We are a platform created to bring together different people from different backgrounds and industries to share their thoughts about all things education, school related. And we believe passionately in the power of education to influence students, parents, and future educators. You can find more information about us at educatorsforimpact.org. Besides myself, I have four other team members, Angelina, Vanessa, Chris, and Joyce, who are working with us to make this event possible. And so to give a proper introduction, we welcome Kai. Kai is a junior at Palo Alto High School, and he decided to start PPP after seeing a high increase in trash when schools started to offer free lunch during the transition from online to in-person learning. So he and his partner, Oscar Anderson, have been working to combat food waste every day with a broad base of volunteers. And in a sec, I'm just gonna let Kai discuss a little bit more about PPP by himself. So as we get into the Q&A, if you guys have any questions, please type them into the chat and I will circle back to them in the end and try our best to get them answered. But let's just get started. So first, like I said, Kai, can you just give us a better explanation of PPP and exactly what it does?
Sure, yeah. So People Place Planet is a nonprofit founded in Palo Alto High School. And we basically have the goal of routing otherwise wasted food to those suffering from hunger. Essentially, we have bins situated around our campus, and anyone can put their leftover food items in, assuring that they're still intact. After every day, we consolidate it into one big bin and transport it to the center, or to our local opportunity center, which is right across the street. This is important because much of the food used would otherwise be wasted or thrown in the trash. This reduces both food waste and CO2 emissions and the materials used to make this food.
Okay, thank you. So what prompted you to start PPP?
Sure. I guess when I came back from COVID lockdown, the first thing I noticed was the free lunch. The second thing I noticed was the sheer quantity of food in the trash. What prompted me to start People Place Planet was the fact that it was so easy to solve this problem and anyone could contribute. I felt this moral obligation as well. As a person with privilege in my community, I felt like those who held power should use it to give power and opportunity to those who are less fortunate. It was also comes down to a sense of empathy. I guess here's what here's what I want you all to imagine for a second. You're hungry, and imagine you feel that feeling almost every hour of every day. That's what many of the people in our community feel like. And yeah, if you were faced with that, what would you do?
Okay, thank you. So who was your biggest supporter when you were creating PPP?
I guess segueing off my last question, my biggest supporters were most definitely probably my co-founder and our opportunity center. They help so much with planning, logistics, and making sure to get, I just, sorry, I mean, just get, yeah, get all the logistics down and making sure that we got the bins. Angelina and Alfredo, two people from the center, were very, very helpful, and we want to thank them as well.
Okay, thank you. So PPP started, I think a year or two ago. So how did you like expand your project?
We're currently trying to expand by reaching out to people from schools who are interested in this project and are trying to bring it into their own school. I guess in I guess we're trying to, or yeah, in fact, if any of you guys want to stay on the Zoom for a few seconds because you're interested in the project, I can totally guide you guys through. Um, this is much easier in public schools because of the free lunch programs, but it might still be doable in private schools. It just might be a little harder.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. And so what are some of your current and future goals for PPP?
By this point, we have our project running fairly autonomously. Our present goals are to expand to other schools in the Bay Area, and our future goals are to expand all the way across California, the country, and hopefully the world. And this may just seem like wishful thinking, but I firmly believe this goal is possible.
Mhm. And so like you sort of touched up a little bit on it, but like how are you going to try and like go about doing this?
I guess um I could try to go about doing this by as the main thing is just contacting other schools, but also uh, just getting a social media presence because a lot of people are willing to hop onto an idea once there's a presence on the web. So I guess those are the two main things we're trying to do to get people to know about the project.
Mhm. And so throughout your time as PPP's founder, what skills have you developed or used from this experience?
As the most important skills I've developed are the leadership, time management, and moral skills. Leadership skills were developed near the start as it involved a ton of planning and execution, as well as talking to various leaders and getting approvals and supports. Additionally, I got the same sort of leadership skill through volunteers because I have to make sure that everyone gets a job. I guess effectively works to try and get the food from here to the opportunity center. This also required, I guess, yeah, time management skills because especially at the start, because we had to create a set goal line and we had to fully plan and make sure that we could meet our deadlines on time. And that was very hard for us.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And moral skills, I guess, because I guess only until after I finished the project did I have a newfound sense of duty and empathy towards those less fortunate. And because of experiences with them, I'm able to gauge their various insightful worldviews and ideas.
Okay, thank you. This you sort of just talked about it a little bit, but going a little bit more in depth, what were like some of your challenges besides like time commitment? Did you have like a lack of volunteers, or did you have anybody that was like against the program that thought maybe this won't work or it just doesn't make sense?
Thank you. That's a good question. I guess I guess one of the mistakes I made was I didn't plan any of my events out, which I should have. This led to a lot of chaos and confusion that could have been easily avoided. My advice would be to start with a planner. However, there's probably a point where the project just gets to be fully autonomous and you would only need to deal with transportation. And if you can get transportation working autonomously, you basically have it set. Overall, if you're struggling with the time commitment, my advice would be to have a planner or maybe just a set time to do PPP stuff or whatever you want to do. Another obstacle I ran across was a lack of volunteers. This I sort of solved by getting on our school broadcasts, newspapers, and starting a school club. This gets people, I guess, interested in your project. when they look at the bins around campus and think, oh, what's this? If you have a sign up sheet, you can basically track everyone who wants to volunteer. That's really helpful. We didn't really have any adversaries, which were kind of lucky. Everyone was overall very supportive of our project. But if you do have adversaries like a principal or cafeteria organizer, etc., my advice would be to work around, like see from their viewpoint and work around their restrictions. And who knows, maybe they might end up supporting you. Yeah.
Thanks. And so just like for anybody that might want to like create their own club like you did, or just follow in your footsteps, I guess, like can you just like give us like a breakdown of like the process that you went through to just like from your like the beginning of your idea to where it is now, like the process of creating the club?
Good question. I guess my main first ideas would be to identify your problem. This could be literally anything you don't think is right. My second step would be to contact people who I guess you believe can help you with your project, whether that be your school administrators, friends, teachers, etc. From there, you could start solving the problem. If you have any ideas, again, I can help you flesh them out after the Zoom. And my third criteria would probably be to make sure you have enough time to do your project. This means that you're able to juggle your stuff and your projects. Even if you don't have enough time, I highly recommend you to make time, because there's not that many times in your life where you have the opportunity and the time to make a difference. And high school is one of those times.
Yeah, I know that Palo Alto High School is like a pretty like rigorous school and there's like a lot of work. So, like you sort of talked about it, but how exactly do you go about like juggling school and PPP? I know you said like you have to make time. So what exactly does that entail?
Okay, I guess the first question right now, PPP runs fairly autonomously. I just have to like bring food to the center. That's literally it. People are kind of used to the bins. So I can focus on school, but I also started planning in the summer, which is a lot easier because then you don't have to even worry about this problem. And it gives me a lot more time to work and less time to worry. By the time school started, a lot of it was already set up. So that's definitely a huge plus. My advice for starting something would definitely be to do it during the summer, just so you can, yes, you don't have to worry about juggling. If this is an option, you can set aside a time each week to work on this. And sorry, what was the other question?
So you said something about like making time. I guess you said
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you
Okay. Well, making time. I guess what you can do, you can say, do I have anything extra that I don't want to do? Am I willing to take a less rigorous course load? Whatever you think you would do to be able to create something. That could also be, I guess, if you play a ton of video games, maybe you could, instead of playing like every day, you can play once every other day. Yeah, just making time for PPP.
And just listening to like the project, it sounds like probably the most difficult part is like first just getting people to like use the bins, the share bins in the first place. I know that this probably isn't the easiest to do for like a group, like a school of high schoolers who probably don't really care as much as you do. So how did you like manage to get everybody to sort of agree to use the bins?
I guess like I'd probably give high schoolers a lot more credit than people think, because a lot of them have this moral sense of right and wrong. And I guess when they see a bin and they have food, a lot of them would rather put their food in the bin than in the trash, which is amazing. Sorry. And sorry. Okay. And that's, I know like a lot of high schoolers might not have that moral sense. And the way you get them used to it is just to put the bins in a place that's easier to put than the trash. So they put their extra food in the bins just because it's easier. Because again, high schoolers want to do easy stuff. Um, but I guess yeah, if you're doing something related to high schoolers, just try to make it super easy for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I also understand that you had an event called Call for Leaders. I'm assuming it was just like to reach out. So what is that like? What is Call for Leaders and like what were you trying to accomplish here?
Okay. Call for leaders is essentially like it's an event to try and get other people interested in leadership and interested in founding their own nonprofit and interested in, yeah. So I guess it's more of a, just like if people need help or motivation in creating their own idea to change the world, this would be what Call for Leaders is about. And part of that, I think, is having an idea or wanting to change the world. Like if you want to change the world, it's very easy to get an idea. Yeah.
Thank you. And I see like a few questions in the Q&A, so I'm just gonna start. Do you think you will continue this program after you graduate and go to college?
I think I will. I don't know if my co-founder would, but if he doesn't want to, I'm totally fine doing it on my own. That'd be amazing. I think when I go to college, I'll probably try to spread it to my college as well, just because I think it's very, very, it makes me feel very, very good and it benefits so many people that I don't know if I can just like ignore it.
Yeah. And the other question is, since it deals with food, what did you do to prevent food safety issues? So, like, I'm assuming along the lines of like, um, giving food that has been touched or like grabbed by people already.
Okay. I guess the way we deal with food safety issues is all of our food comes in boxes. So we make sure it stays in boxes by the time we get it to the opportunity center, if that makes sense. So I don't know any other effective, or essentially what the opportunity center does is they give food to anyone who passes. So dealing with food issues might be a little hard, but the way we do it is we just throw away all the food that's open. So we only give them packaged food and fruit. And that's fairly safe for the most part.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Don't think I see any more. Oh, I guess there is another one. Um, Wasting food is a wide problem in the US. It's more than just in school. Do you see a plan to extend your program beyond school, especially since you plan to continue after graduating?
Yeah, I do actually. I think this could totally be the reason we started in California is both because we live here and also because it started becoming a problem in my school specifically, just because of the California mandate where schools have to provide free lunch. I think I'll look for ways to sort of make it a multi-purpose food program after I graduate instead of just focusing on schools. But yeah, definitely. I definitely want to. Yeah.
Um, okay, thank you. And I just have a few more questions. You mentioned briefly, but what does like PPP mean to you, just like personally?
Personally, okay. I think what it means to me is just it's a program where I'm able to, I guess, totally interact with the community I grew up in, which is very, very, it's an amazing feeling because I guess not many people have the opportunity to do that. So I guess what it means to me is it's my way of giving back to the place that I grew up.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, there's another question.
Ooh,
Um, if I want to start a similar program in my school, what advice do you have? And is there an opportunity to collaborate?
I guess yes to both. If you're able to stay on a few minutes after the Zoom, I can totally talk and sort of flesh out your idea. I can help you, well, basically along every step of the way. Do you know if your school's a public or a private school? If you could put that in chat. Oh, it's a public school. Okay. Yeah, that's do you live in California? Because if you live in California, you can start a very, very similar program. I guess. Oh, okay. So I guess you could do the exact same thing that I'm doing if you really wanted to, where you just get bins and you spread them around campus. And I guess the first thing you should do is talk to your principal again and make sure that they're on board with the idea. Do you know? And another thing, there's a website called Peninsula Food Runners. I can bring it up. It's a it's an amazing program. They can help you find whatever opportunity center or food bank around your area so you can donate your food to them. Probably the probably the main struggle would be to get transportation, and I can also help you with that because I think what we're starting to do is we're transferring over to our parent volunteers for transportation. So that makes it a lot easier. I guess also yeah. I mean, and I guess is there an opportunity to collaborate? Your second question, totally. We can totally collaborate with you. That's it.
And I think there's another question in chat. Did you have a starting budget, or was there a fundraiser needed, or did you need to like apply for a grant or a scholarship to get this started?
Um, our starting budget was $500. Um, I guess I'm probably going to start working that off, but $500 is definitely, you don't even need $500 to start. We just wanted to register as a nonprofit because then we could provide volunteer hours to people. So you you don't even need a budget. All you need to buy is boxes, and then the rest of it is just work.
Yeah, that makes sense. And okay, another question. Have you ever been challenged with your purpose with your program?
Yeah, I have. I guess at the start, I had no idea why I was doing it. I just did it because my friend was doing it. It was only until in the middle of the program that I realized the true value of doing it. So I guess, have I ever been challenged with with my purpose? Yes and no. I didn't even think of my purpose at the start. I just thought, oh, this might be cool. But I guess once I started getting into it, I realized how much it helps the community.
Um, thank you. I don't see anything coming up right now. If anybody has any more, I'm just gonna wait for like a few minutes to see
Okay.
if there are any more questions coming in. Um,
Awesome. I guess I could talk a little more about PPP while that's happening, or nonprofits in general. I guess it's very, I think it's very easy to start a program in your school if you really wanted to, especially with I guess especially if you have people on board. So if you have people on board, everything's so much easier. So if you really want to start it, my recommendation was find a few other people to help you, because it's going to be like more of a team project than an individual project. If you think you can only do it individually, that's fine as well. It might be a lot harder. Yeah. So just wondering, do any of you guys have any other questions?
Let's just wait for a second.
Yep.
Um, well, okay, I guess I can ask.
Okay. Oh,
So okay, well, go ahead with
what is
this.
the best way to advertise the program or get the message out to the people? That's a good question. I guess the best way to advertise the program, what we did was we contacted our local newspaper and talked about our program. We talked to our principal or our director of student activities, and he was like, that's a cool program. We'll send out a Schoology message to everyone, which is just like a message to everyone in the school. Also, if you guys have morning broadcasts, we got on our morning broadcast. And our school newspapers. So those are the ways we just got the message out. And then another way is just like putting people at the bins in the cafeteria.
Yeah, thank you. And can you talk a little bit about like your like volunteer base? Like how big is it? How did you get people initially interested, and what exactly do you need like your volunteers to do on a daily basis to keep PPP up and running?
Okay. So I guess we needed our volunteers more in the first few, um, in the first, I guess, section, but to sort of advertise. I guess what our volunteers do now is they bring the bins out every brunch, they put them back, they at the end of every lunch, they weigh the food, they put it in a bin, and then they put it out front for us to pick up. So that's sort of what our volunteers do. You don't really need that many, but we started at doing PPP like once or maybe twice a week, but then after a while we transitioned to every day. So yeah, that's sort of what our volunteers do, and that's sort of how we started.
Thank you. And so, I understand like this is your nonprofit. So, what do you consider like a success? How do you define success for PPP or just like any nonprofit in general? So, like, what exactly are you hoping PPP will reach?
I'm hoping PPP will reach. I I think I think we've already sort of succeeded by creating a working program, but I hope PPP will expand and sort of reach a lot more places. Success, I would define as creating a program that ultimately helps people. And once you start helping people, that's what I think is success, or changing the world.
Yeah, thank you. So, oh, um, have you ever talked to the people who got the food, and did they tell you anything about the food and the program?
Did I ever? Oh, um, wait, sorry. The people who got the food in, I
Mm.
guess. Oh, do you mean the cafeteria people? I guess I talked to.
Or
Yeah,
like,
I did talk to them a bit, and they sort of told us that they have to give everyone like the certain amount of food, even if they don't want it. So then it's sort of California state law. But what they do, the reason we can't take leftover food from the cafeteria is because they all bring the food back to their center after each day, and then it gets distributed to the other schools.
What about like the Opportunity Center or maybe even like the people that the Opportunity Center helps? Have you received?
Oh yeah, of course. I've talked to the Opportunity Center people a lot. I do the deliveries by myself sometimes. Um, a ton of the Opportunity Center is sort of like this communal place. There are no like cages or anything. So like it's just like a ton of homeless people and stuff. They just walk by the center, they grab their food and they go. Sort of like a pickup drop off thing. Um, yeah, I've talked to them a lot. They're generally really cool. Um, and they're not the type of people who you would expect to be homeless. They're all like they're very, very intelligent. Maybe they've just had one bad event in their life that made them homeless.
And did you get any sort of like feedback on PPP in the program? Yeah.
Oh, feedback on PPP in
From like people like that work at the Opportunity Center or anybody that you've helped before, anything.
yeah, I guess a lot of them really like the program just because of how easy it is and how much food it gets. Um, so yeah, that's definitely a big plus, and that's amazing. I guess. Um, we recently talked to some of the people from our school, and they sometimes get our food to give to the hungry students as well. So that's another really cool thing that PPP does.
Thank you. I think that answers the question. Maybe wait another 30 seconds to see if there's any question.
Okay, sure.
Um, yeah. let's see. So after you go to college and you graduate from Pali, do you like I know you said you have plans to continue PvP by
Yeah.
your at um like whatever college you end up going to. But do you have plans to, because I know that PPP runs basically like autonomously at Palo
Yeah.
Alto.
Yeah.
Do you just sort of have plans to sort of pass it down maybe or continue?
I will pass it down in Pali. Just I'll keep working on it. Like essentially everywhere.
And um have you like had any success or like heard it back from like other places, like other schools about expanding? Because I know that it might be like quite difficult for some other schools
Oh,
that
sorry. Oh,
like some
fi-
schools already have similar programs. So have you had like success like trying to expand PPP? Are you in the process of it right now?
I'm in the process of it right now, but I think I have had like slight success. There are people that want to join, which is really cool.
Mhm. And I know that he's not here, but can you talk a little bit about like Oscar and like how he's helped you or how you guys work together, I guess, to do this project and just like whether you think it was necessary or like if it was like it was like a two-man job.
It was definitely like a two-person job. It'd be very hard to do it as a one-person job, but yeah, I definitely think it was a two-person job.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't see anything. Oh, somebody would just like to say thank you. But I guess this is a good way to wrap it up. Since I don't think there's gonna be any more questions. If there are more questions, you can go ahead and still put them in. You can like still answer them. But for now, I'm just gonna wrap it up. So,
Okay.
like quickly before we end, if you're interested in joining our team and possibly earning volunteer hours with us, you can join our team and learn how to join our team by visiting our website under the Join Us page. The website is right there. It's just educatorsforimpact.org with the number 4. And I would like to thank you all for coming out and supporting us. And I would love to give a special thanks to our wonderful speaker. Thank you so much, Kai, for giving
Welcome.
such an insightful seminar. If there's nothing else in the chat, well, I guess have a great rest of your day, everybody. And we hope to see you again at our next event. Thank you.
I guess one more thing. I'm just gonna put my email in chat in case anyone wants it. And I'll put my phone number as well. So if you want to contact me because you're interested, you can just write down that email.